G'day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome into Studio Live today. My name is Pete Johns, and we're recording a podcast today. But because I haven't been online for a while, I thought I would say g'day at the tops and the tails because the podcast is only going to be probably a 20 to 30 minute show. So you're going to get to hear some stuff that's going to go away. So this is the bit at the start, and there'll be a bit at the end where I'll just have a bit of a rant and a chat, and then answer any of your questions. If you do have any questions throughout the show, especially here at the start, you can throw a big Q in front of your comment. Just put a big chunky Q, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I am back. I've been away for 4 or 5 days cruising in my own state. Yeah, I went for a cruise, but just to another town in South Australia and back again. So it wasn't like, the Caribbean or Alaska, or it was Port Lincoln, which is just off the coast of South Australia. So it was a good time. And I thought, well, I don't really have a topic for this week's podcast. And then I thought, well, what have I been doing for the last week? That's a topic. That's something that I can share because I've done a lot of traveling in the last few years. I used to travel a lot for work, and I've kind of found all the little niches of gadgets and things that I pack and that I bring along that I need to have with me, that I thought I would share with you because there's lots of cool things, and I offer for you to share yours as well. So if you have some travel tips and hacks and bits of tech gear that you take when you're on the go to keep yourself connected, I would love to hear them as well. Should we say g'day to the folks who are here with us? Hello to Al Davis Music. G'day, yo, to Creative Source. It's our mate Mike. Have not seen Mike around the place in a while. Happy nearly Christmas. Over there in the West. Moo to you, Semtex Cow. G'day to Thomas J. Hello to Doug Kidder as well. Hope you're all doing well. If you have just caught Jade's show, so Jade and Thomas Christ have just finished up a rant where they were talking about all things music industry, which was pretty cool. And I enjoyed that because I like both those people. I like Jade, I like Thomas, and I like hearing what they have to say about the music industry and about creating in general. If you would like to find out what we're doing over the weekend here. So I'm back to the normal routine. If you go to studiolivetoday.com/live, you'll get this lot here. So you'll be able to see this show that we're doing here today, recording this podcast live. We've then got the green hour. So I was trying to work out a topic to do for my happy hour, and I was sitting watching TV. I was watching the cricket. Which most of you won't know much about, but there's a player called Cameron Green who plays for Australia, and my wife's like, Cam Green. I'm like, okay, the green hour. And then I thought, well, you can't do a green hour without putting some Kermit in there, so I'm grabbing the Kermit sipping the tea as the thumbnail emoji there. We've then got Your Music Live returning, and I'm tackling a topic that I tackle about once every year on GarageBand Weekly, which is, why do they still hate GarageBand? It's something that, look, it used to bug me because I was like, people are just so ignorant and they don't know that GarageBand's great. Now I'm like, I get it, but I wanted to have a little bit of a rant and a whinge anyway. More so for the catharsis of folks who might be just getting into GarageBand, who might be feeling that they're being looked down upon by other users. They're like, oh, if I'm not using Pro Tools or Logic or something fancy that costs lots of money, I'm not good enough. I'm doing the wrong thing. So no, that's definitely not the case. So we'll be talking all about that. Who hates GarageBand? A surprisingly large number of people look down their noses. Probably don't hate it, but don't use it and don't rate it, which is similar but different because, there's a lot of folks out there that just think that, you need to be pouring a lot of money and you need to be using a professional digital audio workstation to be creating good music. It is not easy being green. That is correct. Hello to Tremor Bear. I hope you are well, my friend. Thanks for dropping on by. If you want to get locked down on Try Cakewalk. So what's happened, Mike? I haven't been following, but there seems to be a lot of drama around the cakewalk. area, like because Cakewalk it wasn't a thing, and then it was resurrected, and then it was owned by BandLab, and then they were going to splice it out into a few different versions, and I don't know where are we with that. I remember you did a big show about it a while back, and everyone was a little bit concerned about the future, and now from what I'm seeing in your group, just occasionally dropping on by, yeah, it sounds like they may have yeah, dropped the ball perhaps even more. So yeah, GarageBand might be a good alternative for folks coming out of Cakewalk. Or I suppose if you're in, what would you use? Are there any free DAWs left for PC? I'm not even sure now. I guess you'd use Audacity, record in Audacity. You could do it. No clue. Yeah. Anti-door return. Yeah, let's all go doorless. Let's go back to a 4-track recorder. Let's go buy Tascam Porter Studios and record to cassette tape. That could be a goer. You reckon? Yeah. All right. Well, we'll dive in and record the podcast in just a moment, and then again, all of this will be going away. You get this exclusively. You only get this. You only get this if you're here live. Yeah, Reaper forever free trial. That's a good point, Thomas J. And I should have known that. I should have remembered that because I was a tight ass and I used Reaper on my PC before I became a Mac guy. And yeah, it does. It brings up that little license nagging screen reminder, but you can just keep using it for free, pretty much forever. But it just takes a little while to get into it at that time. But you know what? How often do you actually open your DAW? You sort of open it and then you do a bunch of hours. Does it bring up the nag screen while you're recording? I don't think it does. I don't think there's any interim little nag screens. I think it's only when you open it. Fostex, yeah, the Fostex 4-track. A lot of folks had those. The Yamahas. I bought secondhand, so I'm turning on my AC, a little behind the scenes. I bought a secondhand Yamaha 4-track recorder that I haven't been able to get to work yet. It's got some problem. All the electronics work, but the tape mechanism doesn't. And someone's told me it's the belts, and it's very easy to replace the belts. And I opened it up and took one look and said, yeah, maybe easy for someone who knows what the heck a belt is and how to replace one. But apparently they're little rubber bands that do the tape winding, and I don't know how to do that. So, and I can't find anyone that will actually look at this thing for less than all the money. So maybe that's got to be a thing. Maybe I should learn about it and become a retro tech repairer now that everyone's all retro and into the retro stuff. G'day, Jenny Jolivet. I hope you are doing well. Watch your tutorial. Not too bad. Yeah, okay. I've tried to. If someone has one, if someone finds a tutorial, this particular Yamaha, it's like a more modern one. It's not like the very basic, like the Tascams, where it's everything's sort of buried underneath it. So I think I kind of have to pull the whole back off to get to the tape mechanism. We'll see how we go. I had a Roland 16-track digital. It had 256 megabytes of memory. So you can record a song on that, although it probably recorded it at like some old compressed digital format. So it probably got, you probably got heaps of space on there. Hello to Jade Star Music. I hope you had a good chat. Well, you did. I was just saying you had a good chat with Thomas on your show today, as you always do. You always got good guests on there, and always great to see Thomas and hear a little bit more about Thomas. I like Thomas does a lot of stuff for the community, and he's a very selfless creator. So it's always good to hear some, like when Jade gets Thomas and when I get Thomas on our channels, but like, Tom, your time to shine. Let's talk about you and your music, because Tom does a lot of things for this community, both in moderation capacity, in music creation capacity, and as a YouTube creator and host of live shows himself. Yeah, don't forget, over the weekend, we've got Jade and Tom and myself and Brad, maybe? I'm not sure. Brad's been doing a lot more live shows lately. So maybe you have that. But yeah, we do a big block of acoustic and electronic and live music, and we do that every Saturday evening or Sunday, sort of late morning if you're here in Australia. Thomas is the thug boss. There you go. And yes to Brad. Cool. So yeah, I worry because sometimes I feel like I make Jade my secretary, Brad's secretary, because Brad will do a show and I'll be like, Jade, is Brad doing a show? And she's like, I don't know, ask him. I'm like, he doesn't ever message me. So there you go. And you're finally doing Ben Folds. Excellent. Good stuff. I love me some Ben Folds, as most of you Well, actually, no. So what we'll be doing is I'll be recording the podcast shortly, and then we'll hang around at the end. So when I say goodbye at the end of the podcast, then I'm not actually gone, because if you have any questions or if anyone joins us late, I'll be answering or addressing any questions and maybe having a bit more of a rant at the end. Because as I said, this podcast will be a cut down version. So I've only got 10 things I want to talk about, but I figured, hey, I've just finished traveling, so I'm going to talk about all of the things related to that. Thomas Christ doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind this week as well. I haven't even put my newsletter out, which I normally do before this show, which is a little bit remiss of me. So we will get to that. Going to turn the AC off while I do the podcast. So I'm going to jump in here and get started in about 10 seconds. We'll have a little sip of coffee. I hope you are caffeinated, or have whatever you desire. I'll make sure that my screen is shared and that I'm not smacking my microphone like I did just then. And we'll be ready to rock and roll in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Studio Live Today podcast. This week, I'm just back from a cruise. It was a short cruise, but what I wanted to talk about is the stuff that we take to keep ourselves connected, those travel tech tips and hacks and tricks that make your trips just that little bit more comfortable. Because let's be honest, in 2024 and into 2025, we do want to get away from it all from time to time, but we still want to stay connected, or we at least want to have access to maybe some music or some TV shows or some movies on the go. Maybe you want to create music on the go as well. Maybe you just want to be able to plug in and charge your stuff. Whatever you're after, we've got some tips to help you with that. And the first tip is that if you are looking for any gear for your home studio or your travel kit that you're going to take with you, you can jump over to the Studio Live Today gear guide at studiolivetoday.com/gear. There you'll find my complete studio setup, everything that I use in my studio and everything I use for my mobile rig as well, because I love traveling with iPads and iPhones and chargers, and we're going to talk about that here in the show today. I got 10 different items. Some of them are things, some of them are more sort of software and services. So let's dive in, shall we, with number one. And this is a device that I didn't know I needed until I got it, and now I don't know how I live without it. And it's a portable travel router. This is the GLI Beryl. There's a bunch of different ones. There's the Slate and there's other models of this, but a travel router can get you connected and secure when you're on the go. Here's the scenario, right? You are in a hotel room, or you are on a cruise ship, or you are on an aeroplane, or you are somewhere where Wi-Fi is very expensive and has lots of limitations around it. Now, am I saying that you should be breaking the rules? No, but I think that if someone's going to charge you $27 per device per day for Wi-Fi, that's a little bit highway robbery-y. So all this device is this is your device. So instead of connecting with your phone and then connecting separately to the Wi-Fi with your tablet and with your laptop and with your children's phone and with your wife's phone, this is the device that connects. And then all you're doing is routing your traffic. And why do you do this? So that you can be secure. It's all about security, folks. It's not that you don't want to pay for 7 different devices for Wi-Fi every day. It's for security, because you can add your VPNs to these. You can make sure that you've got a secure password, your own secure Wi-Fi network, and it's got Wi-Fi 6 too. So it's super quick and it helps you stay connected when perhaps you're in environments where it's not that easy to be connected, and definitely not that easy to be safe and secure. So keep yourself safe and secure, and maybe save a few dollars by getting yourself a travel router. And as you can see, if you're watching the video version of this one, at the moment, just $86. It's a big special at the moment. You can usually pick up a good quality router, and they're all kind of made by this company called GLINet, who seem to only make these, but they all get wonderful reviews. And like I say, I plugged it in on day one of my holiday, connected to Wi-Fi, and 4 days, did not miss a beat. We had up to 8 devices connected and it worked beautifully. Let's go to our next item here. Now, this is something that's kind of changed my world. If you're like me and you have iPhones and iPads and other devices, you've got headphones and chargers and things that you need to keep powered up on the go, you'll need a portable USB charger. Now, portable chargers have come a long way over the years. They used to be big and thick and chunky, and you had to carry 15 different cables just to charge them and then to charge up your devices. What I use these days is one of these. Yeah, these are kind of a game changer because they have built-in cables. So this is a very similar one to the one that I'm holding in my hand here, which I took away with me. The one I've got actually has 4 different cables. It has micro USB as well, but the one I'm showing you here on the screen that's less than $20 right now has USB-A as well as Lightning and USB-C. So why is this so good? Well, because this is all you need. All you need to take is this when you go traveling, and you've got everything you need to keep all your devices charged up. So yes, you've got the ports here if you want to plug some cables directly in there, if you're charging something that maybe has a proprietary cable, like maybe your watch charger for your Apple Watch or something like that. But for the vast majority of the time, it's just this, because you can pull out your USB cable and charge the actual battery on any USB-A port that you have that's plugged into power. You've then got 3 different cables. You've got USB micro, you've got USB-C, and you've got Lightning cable. And you can plug devices into all of these. Now, you probably don't want to plug 3 devices in at the same time. You can, it lets you, but they're not going to charge super quick. But I have a couple we took 2 of these away, and literally every time I needed to charge my portable Bluetooth speaker, my phone, my iPad, anything that we had, you've got 10,000 milliamps of charge on this. And I used this yesterday while I was out walking around, still 94% of its charge. So yeah, as opposed to having to take something and then carry all the cables as well, you just slide 1 or 2 of these into your carry-on. You can't put these, if you're flying, don't put these. The airlines and the airport security will be very, very sad. And by sad, I mean yell at you and make a public example of you if you try and carry a power bank in your checked luggage. So always carry, and you want something that's less than 20,000 milliamp hours. If you try to carry one of those big chungus ones, the big 30 and 40 and 50 milliamp thousand, a lot of the airlines get a bit nervous because big lithium batteries, people think they're going to explode. But the smaller ones, you can tuck away and just take a couple of them, and the ones with the cables built in, and you are good to go. Next item. This is something that if you're in hotel rooms and if you're in cruise ships especially, we had one power outlet that was an Australian power outlet in our whole cabin. There were 4 USB-A ports, thankfully, but all the other ones were like European and US power points. And I'm like, I didn't really think of that. But luckily, I brought along a power board. Now, on a cruise ship, you can't bring fancy power boards. You can only bring non-surge protected, very basic ones. So just your standard power board or power cube to plug in. But if you're traveling and you're in hotel rooms, these things are amazing. I grabbed a couple of these when I went to the US, and what these have, they have these nice flat plugs and they have a bunch of sockets. So this one in particular has 4 wide spaced power sockets, so you can plug into those big chunky chargers or the things that don't fit in the wall properly. And we've got 2 USB and 2 USB-C ports. And these things are not pricey. $12.99. And the good thing is they kind of double because they're an extension cord. Because you know how you're in those hotel rooms and they always put the power points and all the power outlets in the worst possible spot. They're like down behind the bed because that's where the lamp or the clock radio plugs in. And you're like, I don't need a clock radio. It's 2024. So you unplug that, but then you've got no cable length. Well, something like this just means you can pull that out and you can have access to a bunch of different sockets and a bunch of different ports all in the same spot. So before you travel, pick yourself up something like this. And again, get these. You don't have to use my links on Amazon. You're welcome to. They're all in the description if you're watching the video version, or you can jump over to studiolivetoday.com/gear. But get them before you go. Because guess what? If you go to the airport, have you ever been to the airport or you've been to like a place where you've actually landed and you get out and you're trying to find this stuff buying in a retail store? Yeah, something like that power board I showed you there for $12.99, you're probably paying $40 to $50 for that. Portable batteries, really crappy ones, are about $30 or $40. You buy them on Amazon before you go or eBay, and you might pay $15 or $20. So get the gear before you go. There you go. That's Pete's tip. Get your gear before you go. Now, I mentioned that you don't need cables because you're going to use one of these, right? But sometimes you do need cables. Sometimes you need to plug stuff in. And I've fallen in love with these cables, with these 3-in-1 cables. Now, someone's probably going to jump in the comments of this video and tell me that these things are terrible and they blew up their device or they're ruining my devices every time I use them. But I just find them so gosh darn convenient. And it is. It's a multi-USB cable. So here's the one that I took away with me. It's almost exactly the same model. And by the way, this sort of stuff, let's be honest, the brand name doesn't really matter. Read the reviews, check the review ratings on Amazon, which are usually not the perfect indication, but an indicator. But yeah, when you're buying this stuff, in your country, it may have a different brand name because they're all coming out of kind of the same factories in Taiwan and in China. So they'll be brand names. So this one is a Romos, which I tend to buy Romos stuff because, I don't know, it just seems to be a good, reliable brand. But the one I showed you there was a Geomac. And this battery is something else I've never heard of. I can't even read it. It's a Charman. So, yeah, don't get too hung up on the brand names because they're kind of all the same. But get yourself one of these multi-cables because this is super handy. You can be the hero of the plane or the boat or the family because no matter what people need. Because here's the thing, my family are now mostly Lightning and USB-C, but for instance, my Bluetooth speaker is still USB micro, and so is my daughter's wireless headphones. They're USB micro. So there's still a couple of things that haven't quite made it across. And of course, we've got phones that are all Lightning. Mine's now USB-C, but the others have Lightning phones. And then USB-C is iPads and other things like laptops and whatnot. So get one of those cables. They are amazing. And you never have to think again, do I have the right cable? You just say, I have my cable. Velcro. I have a roll of this Velcro one wrap with me all the time. Does anyone really not like the sound of Velcro? If you don't, block your ears for 1 second. I kind of love that. I love that sound because it just reminds me of how cool Velcro is. So why Velcro? Well, you're going to have a lot of things that you're going to want to like wrap up and tie up. And the amount of times that having some Velcro with you, either the little Velcro tabs, like the little cable tie ones, or a roll like this, you will of course need scissors if you have this, which can be tricky to travel with. So maybe you want to pre-cut a few pieces, but having Velcro with you, I'm telling you, you're going to find 101 different uses for it, whether it's just as simple as all your cables. Because again, the difference between packing that or wrapping it up and tying it up nicely, and for those on the audio version, I'm tying up my cable and putting a stick of Velcro around that. You only need the smallest amount and your cables don't get all mangled and you're having a much better time when you're out there traveling. So keep that in mind. Grab yourself some Velcro. I know this is a simple stuff, but it's those little things you don't really think about when you're traveling that you might want to know about. What about some headphones? Well, yes, you can carry your wireless headphones, and if you've got AirPods or you've got EarPods or you've got Bluetooth buds, whatever you're using is good. I always carry at least 1 or 2 pairs of backup wired headphones because if you lose one of your buds or something happens to your charging case and you got no sounds, I don't know about you, but if I can't listen to my podcasts or listen to my audiobooks or listen to music, I cry. I cry big tears. I'm not so manly that I can say I never cry. No, I would cry without music. So I recommend grabbing some wired headphones. And my favorite, and have been for a long time, I've done videos on the channel here about them, are these ones. I'm holding them in my hand, but I'm showing them on the screen as well. At the moment, they're half price. They're $10. They're the JBL Endurance Run. Now, I don't do a lot of running, but I love these headphones because when you put them in, they stay in. They've got this design that actually sits inside your ear. So it's not like you don't have to like cram them in there like you do with regular headphones. They just kind of sit on the outside and they're the most comfortable and least fally outy headphones that I've ever had. And I've had many, many pairs of these. Now, they do have a standard 3.5mm plug. And let's be honest, nothing that we use these days has a 3.5mm plug. So you will need to also get yourself some dongles. Now, I use the Apple Genuine ones, but I do also have a few other things. And they're my other recommendations that we have here, which are these. These are the Lightning to 3.5mm with a Lightning power point. Now, this is only for power. So you can't plug this in and then, plug in your audio interface as well. A lot of people have asked me about that and said, "Oh, this is cool because I'll put my microphone into there and then I'll use this as a monitoring headphone jack." No, this is only for power. So all it does is does power pass through of your lightning and gives you a headphone jack. So these are handy little things to have if you're on the go. And there's the same version for USB-C. So same sort of thing, USB-C power pass through, and then you've got your headphone jack as well. So if you're traveling with wired headphones, even if you're not using them as your daily drivers, the amount of times that I've just not been able to find my other headphones or something's gone wrong or another member of my traveling party has not had headphones and they needed them, and I've come to the rescue because I've got a pair of these with the right adapters or a couple of those, then they're good to go. That is all of the actual things. So we're going to finish off here by talking about things that are not the actual gear, but are the things to consider and maybe do before you go, with your technology before you go traveling. Number one, and I told my children to do this, and thankfully they did, because there were periods of time where we didn't have any access to any sort of internet, where we were on different parts of the boat and they just were sitting there and they were bored because they're children and their attention spans are short, but they wanted something to do. So I said, look, download every service these days, everything from YouTube to Disney Plus to Netflix to Amazon Prime. All of them allow you to download locally to your device. So about a week before we left, I said to them, kids, download your stuff. Download YouTube videos, download stuff from Disney, download your Netflix shows, whatever you want. Just have something downloaded to watch. Don't rely on the fact that you're going to have an internet connection, because you don't always have that connection when you're on the go. So that's a super important thing to do as well. Podcasts as well, audiobooks as well. Just make sure that you've got some stuff that's actually on your device. You will thank me when you are in those little spots where you have no reception and no Wi-Fi and you need to do stuff. Also download the apps. So for us, we were on a P&O cruise, so I had to download the quite honestly, truly terrible P&O app to my phone, because that's how we managed everything. That's how we could actually use the ship's free wireless connection, which enabled us to do, well, not much. Check our account, check how much money we'd spent on the trip so far. And also it had a little chat message thing that worked quite terribly, but at least it meant that if the kids were in the room and if, mum and dad were at the casino, which never happened, sure, that we could actually connect and we could chat with them and say, yeah, we'll be back soon. We've lost all our money. So make sure that you download the app. The same with your airlines. Download any of the airline apps for their in-flight entertainment or just for your tickets. Because, you don't want to be getting to a point where you're either on a flaky Wi-Fi network or you've got really dodgy 4G or 3G access and you can't actually download this app. And a lot of places, like there's hotels now that don't let you check in unless you got the app. When we're in Vegas, you needed the MGM app to do like the automatic check-in. You needed to have already logged into it, and then, trying to find access to a decent quality connection so that you can do that at the last minute when you're in line and when there's people waiting behind you to do the same thing. Not fun. So spend a little bit of time working that out before you go and download any apps you need. Work out how you're going to get from place to place. So pre-book your transport, and these days it's easier than ever because we do have apps now. Let me know in the comments what your opinion on things like Uber and Didi and what's the other one, Lyft. I don't love the way that the companies treat their drivers, and I don't think it's the best business model in the world. But we used an Uber to get to the port when we left, and we used a taxi to come home again. The Uber cost us $45. The guy took the perfect route. He was completely kind and courteous and dropped us off. Everything was good. We caught a taxi back. The guy didn't put the address into anything. He just kind of winged it. He took us straight through the city in peak hour traffic along a main arterial road instead of using the express way. And it was and it cost us something like $80. So unfortunately, I use Uber and I use apps to do things. I don't feel great about it, but without victim blaming, the taxis need to lift their game. If they want us to use taxis and if they want to make sure we're supporting drivers, what I do always do is tip. So I do make sure I leave substantial tips when I use Uber and when I use these other services, because I know that the drivers are the ones that get treated the worst. And not to mention, for things like Uber Eats, the restaurants don't get treated well either. But yeah, so it is definitely convenient to have those apps. Again, make sure you've downloaded them, have your account set up, have a payment method set up for those before you travel. And finally, one more tip, and this is going to be weird for a podcast about tech travel tips, but bring cash. Bring a little bit of cash, because there are just going to be those little times where you need a bit of cash. For us, one of the things was we wanted to leave a tip for the staff. So the people that were doing the housekeeping and looking after our room, we wanted to give them a little bit of money, and cash is the easiest way to go. It's also a good way to tip people that are, say, Uber drivers and things. Don't tell Uber that. They want you to do it through their app so that they can track it and they can take a cut. But yeah, money talks, and cash is just the easiest, most universal way, especially if you're just trying to thank people. And look, we live in Australia. We don't have a tipping culture here in Australia, so it's even more important in other countries where service staff are not actually paid a great living wage. You can actually help them out because you're on holiday and they're helping you. So if you've got a little bit of cash, not to mention if you're in some smaller parts of the world and some smaller towns, yeah, there's some places that are still cash only. Thankfully, here in Australia, it's more the other way around. It's more if you don't have your card, you're in trouble, because there's a lot of places that do not accept cash anymore, that are card only, and you have to either tap or use a card to pay. But a little bit of cash never actually hurts. So that is my 10 tips. We're talking travel routers, portable chargers, making sure that you have some power boards, having some cables to plug your stuff in, taking a roll of Velcro tape or some Velcro ties to tie stuff up, making sure that you have at least a backup pair of headphones, because who wants to be without their music and their podcasts? Speaking of which, download some music, some podcasts, some TV shows to your apps before you go. Download those apps, the apps that the hotels use, or the airlines use, or the other places use. Work out what you're actually going to travel with. Are you going to use Uber? Are you going to use some sort of service? And bring a little cash, because money makes the world go round. That is going to do it for this week's podcast. But I would love to ask you this. What do you reckon? What do you use? What tips do you have for traveling? Do you have a particular thing that you take with you every time? Do you have methods you use, techniques that you would suggest? Would love to hear those. If you're watching the video version, drop a comment in the comment section below. And if you're on the audio version, I would love to get your feedback. Feel free to leave a rating on your podcatcher of choice, and leave a comment as well. Thank you for listening to this one, to the Studio Live Today podcast. For more information, get on over to studiolivetoday.com. Don't forget the gear guide at studiolivetoday.com/gear if you are looking to pick up any of these items, or if you want to get anything for your home studio. And as we say at the end of each and every show around here, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and keep creating. I'll see you next time. But I'm still here because of the magic of the internet. So there you go. That is the podcast. So you can hang out here now for a little bit longer if you have any questions. I did see a couple of questions and comments coming in throughout the show. So we'll review those and we'll have a wee chat here as we go through as well. Question from Al Davis. All right. Not music related, but is there a decent free software for video capture? I want to record a digital copy of my college band performing a VHS player. Cheers. Yeah. So, yes, there is. I have it under my desk here. Hold the line, and I'll grab the bit of hardware that I use. Yeah, this is going to get weird and awkward now. Just under here. Just going to pick this up, because I've actually been doing a bit of that myself lately. So I would get one of these. These are the AV to HDMI. So if you get one of these, you'll need one of these, and you'll also need an HDMI to USB adapter. So there's kind of two bits of kit. They're both only about 15 or 20 bucks. So we'll find them on Amazon in a sec, actually. So because what you need to do is you need to be able to get these ones, your yellow, red, and white to an HDMI, and then you need to get that HDMI into USB. That's the easiest way to capture it. As far as the software goes, what I actually use is OBS. So OBS is open broadcaster software, and it's mostly for things like live streaming, Twitch streams and streams like this. People use OBS for. but you can also just use it to record. And it's really easy to set up just something that's going to grab that device that's coming in as a source and then record it. Let's see if there's probably videos out there about this. So let's go record VHS using OBS. Let's see if someone's actually done that. Because I think I watched one of these early on. So yeah, here we go. So it's exactly this. So VHS to digital, the best method to convert VHS tapes to digital using OBS. So I would check out a video like that. In terms of these devices, I'll just see how much you can grab one of these for. So this is AV to HDMI converter. These little mini ones. Yeah, look at that. You can pick one up for like $10. So this is what you need, the RCA to HDMI. It comes with a little cable, which I think is still micro USB, that you can actually plug in there. And then what you need is to get that HDMI into your computer, you need a little HDMI to USB adapter, which the sort that I use are not any of these. I use the little stick style ones. USB, HDMI. Where are they? Do they not sell them anymore on Amazon? That's a bit of a worry. Maybe they got told that they can't do them anymore because people use them for nefarious purposes. Something like this would work, these little boxes. So yeah, you need to get yourself a USB to HDMI adapter and then plug that in. They don't seem to sell the little stick ones that I have, which is what I use here. But yeah, it's not the easiest thing to do, but definitely if you pick up that gear and then if you download OBS, which is free, and watch one of those tutorials, they'll help you out with that. Yeah, so that's right. So there's an audio version of this podcast that I put out each week as well. Yes, you can get all of my gear recommendations. G'day, John Swanson, for that. Always try. Oh yeah, Gary Hubbs. Gary Hubbs out there at the parking lot would always be needing some gear to travel with. Yeah, there's lots of things that we need. Mostly power. Most of it's just powering up these power-hungry devices like our phones and iPads these days. G'day to Joe and Barry Glenn. Hope you are doing well, my friends. Evening to Eric B. Thank you for dropping on by, my friend, as well. Yeah, the built-in cables just are a game changer. I don't know why. Like, they used to do these ones and they were super janky. They were sort of used to hang off the sides. They've kind of perfected it now where they use these flat cables that actually just go into these little molded spots, and they're not the strongest thing in the world, but they're a lot better than they used to be, and they just sit flush against there, so it's all nice and solid and secure in there. If I ever get to travel again, I'm in. There you go. Yeah, always have power banks. I'd always have charged power banks. My children are not great at keeping their power banks charged. The amount of times that I grab their batteries and I hit the button and it's like flashing 0 at me, and I'm like, yeah, batteries that have no charge in them, generally not the most useful things. You find the Velcro satisfying? Yeah, I'll do it again one more time. Yeah. See, I love the Velcro sound. I cannot stand polystyrene. You know that the package, thankfully very little stuff gets packed in polystyrene, but my TV was, and I was pulling that bit where you pull can you hear it in your head right now? Just that scraping of the cardboard on the polystyrene. I was making my teeth hurt just thinking about it. Yeah, exactly. It's not just, oh, hang on. Aren't Velcros cool? Don't the sneakerheads like the Velcros? Yeah, use Velcro for my wicks. Yeah. Wish they still made the lightweight over-ear headphones used to come with Walkmans. I'm sure you can still get them somewhere. Yeah, like those little, like the old school ones that had the little metal band over the top, and like the OG Walkman ones were like orange foam, and they looked super like late 70s, early 80s style, didn't they? They were kind of cool. Take a Novation Launchpad, a keyboard controller. There you go. Better than tapping on the screen. Yeah. Well, if I had more space to pack, yeah, taking a little keyboard controller would be kind of fun if you were creating on the go. I love my Walkman. First cassette that I listened to was Van Halen, 1984. Used it all the time in college. Oh my god. In high school, I had my Walkman, and yeah, it was. I can't even remember what headphones I used back then. But yeah, they wouldn't have been good quality ones, and yeah, just having your Walkman in class and trying to hide it. I had the one of the newer Walkmans. It'd probably be worth hundreds of dollars now, but it was one that actually had like a radio built in, which wasn't that common, and it also had reverse, had auto reverse, and it had rewind. So the original Walkmans had fast forward, and you had to flip the tape over. If you wanted to rewind, you had to flip the tape over and press fast forward to fast forward on the other side. Anyone under the age of 30 is just like, what is this guy babbling about? But yeah, you used to have to fast forward on the other side to rewind the side you were listening to, and then there was only play stop. There was no pause. There was no auto reverse. There was no nothing. It was old school. I was yapping about digital check, and now I'm yapping about whatever I feel like it. Money talks, BS walks. Yeah, downloaded a bunch of Shakespeare plays for my Crete vacation with YouTube Premium. That's cool. Yeah, that's very cultured though. Very cultured of you to do that. Biggest thing I love to use is Bluetooth earbuds on a plane. Noise cancelling, yes. So I find that the AirPods Pro are really, like the noise cancelling, the active noise cancelling in these is really good. It does give me a headache after an hour or two though. So when we went to the States and I was using them on the plane, after a while, the pressurized cabin, and then they kind of create this seal and this pressure in my head. And after a couple of hours, I had to take them out and have a rest. So yeah, I didn't want to arrive with my head feeling like it was about to explode. I travel like Fran Sanford, fried chicken and tater tots in my pockets. Oh, wow. You use the Quest 3 VR to watch movies on the road in giant screens. That's cool. I'm still yet to see someone on a plane with a VR headset, but apparently people are using like Apple Vision Pros. And I'm like, yeah, if I had a $5,000 nerd helmet, I don't know that I'd be taking it on a plane, especially not the cheap airlines that I fly with. Getting mugged on your way out of the plane for your nerd helmet would be no fun. I like the idea of sticking earbuds in my ears. Yeah, it's I don't know. I must admit, I much prefer putting my nice big Sennheisers over the top. And I try. Here's the problem: it's just convenience thing, isn't it? Like the convenience factor of me being able to just grab these and just chunk and have this in my pocket. Like I have the AirPods Max. And I thought I could be that guy that wears the AirPods Max, but they don't really work over my hat properly. And then what was the problem that I was having with them? I can't remember. There was something that didn't work well with them, like wearing them around. Like I think just like taking them off and talking to people. Like I had to be one of those guys that just has them around your neck, hanging there. Then, and you're just like talking to someone and ordering your food, and then I don't know. I think it's because I don't like feeling conspicuous. I like being as inconspicuous as possible. And when I'm wearing big earphones, I feel a little more conspicuous. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, if you do have any final questions or comments, once again, go ahead and put a Q in front of your comment, and I will know it's a question, or let me know your thoughts. But just wanted to jump on and have a quick chat here today, record the podcast, and again, the opening and the closing here, these will be edited out. So we'll be trimming the start and trimming the end, just so that that's just the facts, ma'am, just the actual podcast that's left behind with just the tips there. As well, coming up over the weekend, we have, as I mentioned before, we have the happy hour coming up, the green hour. That'll be hitting the airwaves in just over 2 days' time, 48 hours. We've then got Big Your Music Live. Make sure you get your submissions in. If you've never submitted a song to Your Music Live before, now would be an ideal time to do that. Here, I'll give myself a like, because why not? So you can do so. The link is over here in the video. You can just go to studiolivetoday.com/YML. You'll be presented with this form, and all you need to do is fill in your artist name, give me your email address, the link to the song, YouTube or SoundCloud or Slaps. Give me a couple of sentences. Try to make it one or two. Some people like put one word there. They're just like, fire. And I'm like, that doesn't really help. And other people write their life story. It all started in 1977 when a plucky young accountant met an airline hostess. And it's like, lovely, mate, but one or two sentences, please. And then I just need you to tick yes and hit submit, and that will get you on the show. Yes, Thomas is the link master. He's got the links there ready for you as well. One more thing that scares me on holiday, the low battery warning on my Bluetooth headphones and no plug socket nearby. Yes, absolutely. And that's why one of these in your pocket and you're absolutely golden. Because if you've got the whatever you use, so your charger case, so in this case USB-C on this one, this goes straight into here. If I've got like my headphones are starting to go low, I just go bonk, I plug that in there, and it lights up immediately, and I'm ready to go. So I can keep my headphones in. And if you've got ones like this that have a case, either the AirPods or another brand, has anyone ever done the two-ear shuffle? Where one of your ears goes flat, so you have to go one ear at a time. So you're going like this one's on charge while this one's in, and then this one starts going flat. So you shuffle it, and you're listening in one ear. It's not optimal listening in one ear, but if you're listening to a podcast or a video or something, it's not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, that's why I absolutely swear by these things. If there's two things I'd say you need to travel, a travel router and this. And look, this can even power this. Check this out. So because this has USB-C and this is powered by USB-C, you can actually power up the router with a battery. So you can chuck that in there, turn it on. Wait, am I telling a lie? Maybe I need my other higher powered one. Yeah, this one doesn't seem to have enough juice. Okay, I'm a complete liar because that didn't turn it on. But you can use USB. So this one doesn't have enough voltage to do what you need. That's where you probably do need to have a cable and one of the chunkier ones as a backup if you're going to be trying to power up more powerful devices. They do also come with, of course, a wall wart power supply here. Because what is this? I can't read it. I can never read the voltage and the amperage on these things anymore because they're so small. They're written so small. I'm usually in the latter category. Yeah. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Quick show's a good show. Oh yeah, no, I will. Let's give you the quick summary. So that's why I did want to do a little bit of a preempt and then a post-mortem here today. So yeah, let's give you an overview of the holiday because this part's going to go away anyway. This part's going to be removed from the final version, so you only get to see this if you're here live right now watching the show. So holiday. We went to Port Lincoln via Kangaroo Island. We did not get off the ship for the whole holiday, which sounds a bit weird, right? But the idea is that we wanted to actually go on this to enjoy the cruise stuff, to do the stuff on the cruise. So it was my daughter's 13th birthday. Yes, I now officially am old. I was already old. Now I'm really old. I have two teenage daughters, 15 and 13 now. So my daughter was turning 13 and we wanted to do something fun for her. So on her birthday, which was the third day, she did like zip lining. So you zip line across the top of the ship, which she thought was pretty cool. And she did that twice, which she liked. There was water slides. So she wanted to do the water slides. And yeah, so we basically spent all the time. So first day, went to the port, jumped on the ship. We upgraded our room. Because if you've been on a cruise ship before, the staterooms, the cabins that you get are pretty small. So, yeah, we wanted a little bit more space. So we upgraded to what was called a mini suite, which was still fairly cozy. We still had a couple of queen-size beds. So the kids were on one bed and we were on another bed, but no bunks and no problems like that. First day, we cruised over to Kangaroo Island. We didn't get off. A lot of other people did. We just stayed on the ship. We ate a lot. We drank a lot. We wandered around. We looked at all the cool things that we had on board there. And then the next day we left there and we had a sea day. And the sea day was pretty rocky. So it started getting a little bit rocky. And that was 2 days before my daughter's birthday. And yes, we were all starting to feel a little bit queasy. But this time, because last time we went on a cruise, everybody but me got really sick, and that was a 2021. It wasn't sick with COVID, although we did get turned around and sent back due to COVID. But we were not as bad this time around, mostly because Georgie bought the good drugs, the good anti-nausea drugs. But they also had the side effect of making people very tired. So I didn't take them because I don't get seasick, but the others did. And one of the side effects is being lethargic. So unfortunately, it did mean that they wanted to spend more time. But again, because it was just a relaxation holiday, lazing about in the cabin wasn't actually a bad thing. So had a sea day, arrived in Port Lincoln. Again, everyone got off the boat, which was delightful because there was about 2,000 people on the boat and probably 1,500 of them got off, which meant there was a lot less people around and we got better access to the pool and to the bars and to the restaurants and things like that. So yeah, all in all, a really good opportunity to just let the hair down and relax for a few days, spend time with the family, and yeah, look, I'd love to say that we all switched off from technology, but we didn't because we wanted to. That's the thing. I don't know. Like, as much as I'd love to say, oh, wouldn't it be good if everyone just switched off? It's like, I don't want to. I don't want to go completely without technology for a couple of days, and to expect my family to, I don't know. Maybe that's bad, but it is what it is, as we say. But it's interesting. Best time on the ship is when everyone else gets off. Yes, exactly. That's spot on. So when everyone got off and we had the whole ship to ourselves, it was awesome. It was great. Yeah, especially if you're like me. Like I'm not like a big atmosphere. Like they did these big parties like up on the pool deck where everyone got dressed up and it was loud music and it was doof doof and it was like, yeah, we just hung out in our room during that. And we went out during the day when everyone was like hungover and asleep. And we were down at the pool at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and it was just, beautiful sunshine. And yeah, might have had my first cocktail around 11 o'clock, but hey, you know what? You're on holidays, you do these things. And yeah, so it was all good. So yeah, it was really good to get away. And again, huge thank you to folks like this guy here who helped out. Who helped out with the channel while we were away because I pre-recorded everything and got it all set up, and Your Music Live and the Happy Hour both went off without a hitch as far as I saw. Thomas, I don't think, well, I didn't actually watch the whole chat replay, but I'm assuming everyone was well behaved as they often are. Thomas says, I was on a ship from Greece to Italy overnight and seas got rough. Definitely not a fun time. No. It is not. And yeah, the last night was actually the roughest. So as we were coming out of Port Lincoln and coming around sort of the headlands, we were out in like the real sort of deep blue sea. And yeah, it was doing a little bit of this action. And then, yeah, I was like, can we please get back closer to the coast? And yeah, it was fine. Like by about midnight, it was fine. And then, yeah, we had to get up at 5:30 on the last day because had to disembark early. So we had to get off the ship at like before 7 o'clock. So yeah, we were home here pretty early. I went back to bed because I was tired, and then got up and watched a little bit of You Rock. So that was a good time. So yeah, definitely. I don't think we're going to be a cruise family. I think the next holiday we have is a very short trip to Sydney, which I'll be doing in January, just to go over there for a couple of days to have a little bit of time. I just haven't been to Sydney forever. Like Charlotte, my 13-year-old's never been to Sydney. Jasmine went as a 1-year-old and hasn't been back since. So we're going to Sydney, and especially my oldest, they are big into musical theatre. So we're going to go see Hamilton, which is cool. I've seen it twice before, as has my wife, or she's at least seen it at least once, and the kids haven't seen it, but we've watched it on like the Disney Plus film of the musical with Lin-Manuel Miranda. So we'll be going over to Sydney to watch that one in January, just for a couple of days. So that'll be nice. But yeah, then I'll be having to use all these same tech tips because we'll be flying that time. So flying on a budget airline, because I don't fly on the big costly ones these days. I've realized that flying is not a good experience. It really doesn't matter. Does anyone disagree with this? But it really doesn't matter whether you fly like with a big sort of official, like in America, it would be like American or Delta or whatever. It's a little different in America because sometimes like Southwest is just an absolute abomination, because if you can't pick your seat or you can't get assigned seats, I absolutely hate that. It gives me anxiety attacks thinking about the idea of going in and trying to find a seat. So that's a bit different. But as long as you can select a seat, I don't really care about anything else. I don't need a hot towel. I don't need to be served, especially if you're flying 1 hour, 2 hours. Like, I don't need any of that stuff. Just get me in a plane with a seat. Don't care about leg room. I know it's going to be cramped. Doesn't matter how much you pay. It's always cramped. Just take off, land in the place that it says on the ticket, and let me off the frickin' plane. And then I get to go through the absolute hellscape that is security. And again, security here in Australia is not as bad. Like, for some reason, like, America has a reputation. I don't mean to be dumping on America. I love you, America. You have lots of very good things, but your what's the name of your agency that does the plane security, the airport security? I can't remember their name. It's like the DTS or something. Yeah, they are scary. They're really scary. Like, I know that they're rushed, and I know that it's crowded, and I know that they're probably overworked and underpaid, but man, why do they have to be so angry? Like, yeah, you can tell us what to do, but they're literally yelling and screaming at people. And like, my wife put her shoes through because apparently you have to take your shoes off to go through an airport screening. Because one time, one guy put a bomb in his shoe, and now everyone takes their shoes off every time. That's the thing. So my wife had to take her shoes off, and only one came through. And like she's trying to push her way back through to get back because everyone's going the other way. And she talks to the lady and says, "Oh, I only got one shoe." She's like, "So, I'm sure it'll come eventually." And it's like, dude, the tude. You're in a service industry. These are people on holidays. Stop being a wanker. Anyway, yeah, Qantas is a big one down under. And look, if the price is the same, I do try to fly Qantas, but they have a secondary carrier called Jetstar, which is their cheaper budget airline, and they're almost as good, to be honest. Qantas have got so average that I just fly Jetstar now because it's way, way cheaper. My daughter saw Hamilton in New York City, Broadway. All right, the TSA, yeah, the TSA. Stag parties, Ryan. Oh yeah, so Ryanair is yeah, they're our Jetstar, I think, but even worse because they're super cheap, aren't they? Ryanair are like the absolute budget airline. Is it Southwest that would be the budget? No, it's who's the one that starts with an S in America that everyone complains about that they say is the worst one? Anyway, there's bad airlines, but most of them are okay. Oh, good luck. Good luck. Yeah, Mike. We'll have a chat, mate. You can get through it. As someone, if someone like me, if you're a little, there's things you can do to pre-prepare. So I'll throw a few tips out here now. They absolutely went through every bit of technology, and you'll be the same, Mike. So what I did is I got one zip bag that went in my carry-on with all my tech in it. So I could take all of that out, and then everything that was in my regular bag after that was not tech. So anything with a cable or a plug or a battery, it's not like here in Australia where it's like, oh, take your laptop out and you can leave everything else in your bag. I found that just having every bit of technology separate, because the amount of times that it went through, the first time I went to America, like through the TSA, yeah, they stopped me and I had to take absolutely everything out. And I had like a charger down here, and I had like a microphone down here, and I had a cable down here. And they made me take every little bit out. And I was like, this is no good. So yeah, with your carry-on, just make sure it's super organized, and right at the top is a separate, completely contained bag with all of your tech gear. That way you can just zip, pull that out, chunk, laptop, iPad, thing, all the rest of it, put it through, and then they're good to go. And yeah, if you can avoid wearing a belt, that's handy. So if you can wear pants that don't need a belt, and if you can wear shoes that slip on and off easily, because the amount of times I saw people sitting there like relacing boots and stuff, taking a long, long time. You flew Qantas in the propeller plane age? Yeah, though they did start. They were one of the first airlines in the world, actually. The Queensland and Northern Territory Air Service. But yeah, good luck. January in America, Mike. I mean, for other reasons, good luck, my friend. Could be fun. You're all right. California is not actually part of the US. California is its own. As long as you're not leaving the state of California, it's kind of just like an extension of Australia, really. California's fine. It's when you get out of there. Apart from the TSA at LAX. So once you get through the TSA, everything's hunky dory. Joe says, I hate flying, too many people milling about, hate the confinement. Yeah, it's not fun. Not great. Canada Air, no good. America's just an angry country, just that's it. Well, yeah, look, there's some absolutely lovely people in America. Again, I really feel bad every time I have a rant and I talk about this sort of stuff, because we also have horrible, angry people in Australia. We're not all just laid back. How you going, mate? Yeah, we have racist and bigoted and horrible people here as well. It's how to fly human turds about. Southwest is budget and stinking flying bus. There you go. JetBlue, not great. Rep here, I know. Yeah. Yeah, there's one that, I can't remember the name of it now, but Noel Phillips, who's a guy, he lives in America now because he chose to move to America from the UK. Go figure. But yeah, he's done some like budget airline comparison stuff, and yeah, it looks interesting. Got to do most of it out for inspection in the UK. Plastic belts for the win. There for NAM. Yeah, look, I've considered going to NAM. Is that that's the Anaheim one? That's the one. What are they called? Winter NAM, which is in Anaheim. Am I making that up? the convention center there. I don't know. I should know more about this stuff being a music tech guy. But yeah, I did consider it last year because we went to the States 2 years ago. I considered that last year, but yeah, a lot of stuff was going on around then, and I'm like, I'll let them chill. Yeah, that one. Yeah, look, and it would be a good time. And if you're there, yeah, Anaheim, and around Santa Monica where we stayed was absolutely fine. Like there's parts of LA that are not fabulous, like downtown LA, like most cities these days. The downtown parts of cities, kind of gross now. Like they've kind of just gone into disrepair. So yeah, but down in Anaheim. Anaheim's just beautiful. Like, yeah, it's sort of just holiday time. It's families and it's Disneyland down there, obviously. So yeah, it was very chilled and laid back. So yeah, I'm sure you'll have a good old time there. But yeah, the getting there. Make sure you've got transport because you probably know this, but Anaheim is not near LA. So when we got to transport from Anaheim to LA, from LAX to Anaheim, and it took us over an hour, I think about an hour and 10 minutes or something like that to drive. And that was in sort of medium peak. That wasn't even in peak hour. If in peak hour, it can be 2 hours plus to get there. So leave yourself an absolute boat. In LA, leave yourself an absolute boatload of time to get from anywhere to anywhere. When we were going from Santa Monica to LAX, we were getting an Uber and we were on the Santa Monica Pier and I checked the timing and it said, yep, lots of Ubers available, travel time 30 minutes. And we're like, cool, we'll give ourselves an hour and a half before we have to go. And we got back to the hotel and got our bags and I checked the Uber and it said travel time 74 minutes. So in the space of like half an hour while we had lunch, the travel time went from 30 minutes to 74 minutes. So it more than doubled to go. And Santa Monica to LAX is not far. It is not big distances, maybe 10 miles or something. But the freeways were just parking lots. And thankfully, we had the most insane Uber driver I've ever had. I don't know how many road rules he broke, but it was a lot. And at that point, I didn't care because we were going to Vegas. And I'm like, if we miss our flight to Vegas, oh my God. So I was freaking out. But yeah, he did a great job of getting us there. It's a lot. Yeah, everything is for and there is no transport. There is no public transport. There is no way if you're not in some sort of car, some sort of private transport, you just can't get anywhere. Like you would think, right? You would think being like a big tourist town that there would just be an absolute plethora of like really convenient, like big buses that go from LAX directly down to Anaheim. Because in Anaheim, all the hotels are within like this 1 square mile radius. So they'd have a really convenient way of just having a bunch. And look, if you buy the really expensive Disney resort stuff, they do give you transfers. But if you're just a pleb staying at the Howard Johnson's like we were, then yeah, we had to pay something like $200 for transport from LAX down to Anaheim. It was kind of ridiculous. Anyway, what did we? I said I was going to finish up, and then we started talking about this. Haven't lived to have driven LA rush hour. Rush, I know it's not a rush hour at all, is it? Western US has a lot of space. It does. Everything is very spread out. Like you think Los Angeles, like you think of a city here in Australia. Yeah, cities we have a lot more urban sprawl these days, but it literally sprawls out. So cities are built on the coast, and then they just sprawl out from there. Whereas cities especially in Southern California, if you go to LA, there's like all these little cities, but there's like, here's a city and then like there's a bunch of nothing. And then here's the next city. So like you go along the coast and there's like Santa Monica and there's Long Beach and there's Venice Beach. And then you go further and then like there's just all these there's all these cities, but it's like a big spider web as opposed to here where everyone wants to be as close to the hub as possible and it all just spreads out from there. Interesting stuff. We need to talk. Oh mate, yeah. I'll have a chat. I'll go back through my notes and I'll tell you everything I found out because we did exactly that. We went LAX, we went down to Anaheim, stayed there, and yeah, if you planned, you'll be absolutely fine, and you're going to the right spot there. But yeah, it was just getting out of LAX, getting through security, and then out of LAX was the hardest. Everything else was pretty cool. And if in doubt, just say, I don't know, I'm from Australia. There was this really grumpy lady when we were trying to check in for our Vegas flight, and all the check-ins were only digital. You couldn't speak to a person, and we'd stupidly gone through a travel agent, so we didn't have the exact right sort of barcode to scan in. And she was like, "You just got to scan your code." And we're like, "We've tried that 4 times and it's not working. Can you help us?" And she's like, "No, you just got to scan your code." I'm like, "Is there someone we can talk to?" She's like, "We're from Australia. We don't know what we're doing." And she's like, like, it was literally that much of a sign. She's like, "Give it to me." Okay, I found it. Here it is. Get like, it was literally like that. So yeah, so the nicest person that we met in LAX was still quite horrible to us. Yeah, LA's not bad. LA's not bad. You have to fly to John Wayne. Yeah, because that's the thing. There's John Wayne Airport's further down south, and there's like Burbank Airport and LAX. But coming in internationally, everything lands LAX because I don't think the others do international. At least not from Australia. They don't do international flights. It's not bad, exactly. You will have an absolute. It's worth it. That's the thing. It is absolutely worth it to do to go to LA. It's just it just can be a hassle getting through that airport. But yeah, be planned, be prepared, have your shit together, and if in doubt, well, see, you just have to work on your Australian accent, or maybe they'll probably like British people as well, Mike. So you'll be fine. All right, folks, that's going to do it. I'm going to cricket today. Yeah. So it's the first test match between Australia and India at the Adelaide Oval. It is currently raining and looks like it'll be raining most of the time, but it is a day-night match, which means it doesn't start till 2 o'clock and goes through till like 9:30 tonight. So hopefully the rain stops. Hopefully there's some cricket happening. And yes, this is the test match, which is the cricket that goes for 5 days and sometimes nobody wins. Yes, it's like, imagine a baseball game, but instead of being 9 innings, it was only 2 innings, but each innings lasted about a day, and they played it over 5 days. And at the end, if neither team is completely bowled out, nobody wins. It's just a draw, and then you go and do it again, and you play 5 or 6 of these tests in a series, and you go around the country doing that. Yeah, it sounds insane until you go there and you realize that it's really relaxing. You get to sit there, you get to have a beer, you get to watch it, and you know what? If you miss an over or two here or there, or you miss a ball, it's okay. Yeah, it's a good time. Yeah. Autism. I know the amount of times people think I sounded British because I'm from the south of Australia. I'm from South Australia, so your typical Australian accent. So this is how you'd sound if you come from Queensland. You talk a bit slower, and it's a bit more of the nasal, bit more of the how you going, mate. And then if you're from the East Coast, so New South Wales, Victoria, it's more like, yeah, I'm going for a swim in my pool, and I'm going to school with Malcolm, and we're going to go swimming in the pool. It's almost a little bit more New Zealandery kind. And then when one is from South Australia, one speaks more of the Queen's English, so we do sound a little bit more prim and proper with our English pronunciation. One must say dance instead of dance. Anyway. Yep, cricket. Hours of crickets, take a pillow. Yeah, look, I don't know. It's just something about the slower pace of it that I kind of love. And it's weird because I love hockey, clearly. I love watching a hockey game because it is the fastest paced game where the action never stops. And I love cricket, even though Test cricket can be the slowest pace of anything. Anyway, no accent for Hugh. No, that's the thing. We all don't think we have accents, do we? But because we sound like we sound, and we think, I don't have accents. Everyone else has the accents. Anyway, I was going to finish 10 minutes early, and now we're going to finish 10 minutes late. Thank you, John. Thanks for hanging out here. Cricket is the human-based version of the Indy 500. Yeah, it's a bit like that, or a bit like NASCAR racing, where people are like, oh my God, it just turns around and goes around all the time. Thank you, Paul. G'day, Paul. Goodbye, Paul. I'm about to finish off here as well. Thomas Stoller, Russell Wilson, Seahawk, turning Steeler, Yuko. I don't know what any of that means, but I'm sure it means something. That's football talk, by the sounds of it. Go Browns. Go Browns. That's going to do it, folks. Please be kind to yourselves. Be kind to others. Keep creating. I'll see you for the green hour, the happy hour on the weekend. And again, Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Keep creating. See you next time. All those catchphrases. Practice makes progress. Mistakes make you better. We all rise together. And go watch some sport. Bye. See ya.